Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We'll call this meeting of the Carroll County Board of License Commissioners to order. As per usual, we begin our meeting with a pledge to the flag and observe a moment of silence in memory of those who have gone before us, and especially in this day of November, just a few days past Veterans Day. It's strictly voluntary. Commissioner Tino.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, the first item on our agenda is approval of minutes from September 11th and October 8th, meetings of this board, of which you have received a written copy here this morning, as well as email previously. Are there any corrections or additions?
No.
No. If none, they'll stand approved as presented. I assume we have no first-time requests
Correct.
for a liquor license. That being said, we have an application for a one-day liquor license from Sam Raleigh of 1221 Old New Windsor Pike. I assume New Windsor, Maryland, or Westminster, Maryland, for the use and benefit of Union Mills Homestead Foundation, excuse me, to conduct a Christkindl mark, Christkindl marker on the premises known as Union Mills, 3311 Littlestown Pike, Westminster, Maryland, 21158. This they have done in the past. It's just a different name. Am I correct on that? Are there any objections?
No objections.
We have a letter from Laurie Davidson Bell, acting president of Reese Volunteer Fire Company, with newly elected officers.
Have a seat. We call it up. We're doing business. We're doing a business meeting right now. Okay. You can put the address of the 1860. Hello, good morning. Anywhere, yep.
How about them apples?
So what happens, we change the license to reflect new officers?
There's
talk-
some,
You talking to me?
I'm answering the question about the Reese, you're talking about Reese Fire Department?
Yeah.
They decided to make a change on the board.
There's various reasons for that, which we'll not go into because it's a
Do
matter.
we need resignation letters? When someone's on a license and resigning?
Not in that.
I've asked, but it's not,
You
it's
treat
being
them-
done unwillingly.
I'm sorry, what?
It's being done unwillingly.
Okay.
We treat them though kind of like our clubs, VFWs and stuff, and we don't require resignation letters when they elect new officers.
Okay.
There's a unique situation there, which they're not, you read that letter there, it's a little bit more involved than,
A new election.
what?
It's more involved than just a new election.
Did you read the,
Well, no,
Read those three lines.
it's a new election, however,
I hadn't read it either.
One member is suspended and the other is revoked,
Oh, I
so on
see.
and so forth.
Thank
It's
you.
a
Right.
personnel internal matter that
Is she gonna testify?
Got it,
I
okay.
don't want to discuss in public.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
And these are the new officers
They're
on
the
the next
new
page.
officers.
I have no objection.
I have no objection.
One-day liquor license from Shane Latal of 3,000 Snydersburg Road. Made an application for the use and benefit of North Carroll Hot Shots, which is
Thank
to
you.
conduct a Christmas light walkthrough on the premises known as Copper Mine Cascade Park in Snydersburg.
There's actual multiple applications, because, you know, they do, like, weekends, do it one weekend
Different
and the
days.
next weekend, and then,
This is what, the fourth or fifth year?
12 of them, there's 12 different dates.
12 one-day licenses is what they're asking for?
600, I think it was $600.
Some of them are from December 6th to 8th, so
Yeah,
they're multiple
weekend-
days.
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
This is that same Christmas light walkthrough that they
Yes.
always do, right?
Just a new nonprofit involved, North Carroll Hot Shots.
I
And
was gonna say that,
what are they?
that sounded,
They're the rec council for Hampstead softball team. They work at,
they've done one days before with
So in the past, it was the environmental
Friends of Cascade Lake,
right,
environmental group, right?
correct. And Shane has been alcohol awareness trained,
Oh, nice.
Okay.
and several of his staff members also been trained also.
And Shane Latal, he's associated with Hot Shots?
No, he's associated with Copper Mine,
Okay.
but he's also associated with Hot Shot, but his main job is with Copper Mine.
So he's applying, but he's not.
part of Hot Shots, but his main work
Okay,
is.
I was just gonna say, but he's not
He's part-
associated with Hot Shots.
He's
that's
part
what
of
I-
Hot Shots, but his main job is
Gotcha,
do Copper Mine.
thank you.
And NCRC Hot Shots is a recreational,
Softball, girls softball,
and they're nonprofit.
yes, league. I don't know what, travel teams, they have different travel teams.
And it's okay that he's associated with both entities?
So do we know what benefit that the nonprofit gets from these events?
20%. It's actually the last page, last 3 pages is from their Hot Shots minutes.
Okay.
And I should have highlighted with the, and that's the minutes from the last monthly meeting,
The minutes of who?
Hot Shots. If you turn the next page, it should say Hot
Oh,
Shots.
okay, so you have the.
That was the last page, I put them on top.
I
so
got it,
you-
okay, I see.
What's this, about the fifth year?
Yeah,
Yeah, but this is the first year they've done someone other than Friends of Cascade Lake.
yes. And it might be the 4th year, but it's,
Couple years.
one year they were, yeah, I think it's the 4th.
Fourth, yeah.
And nothing is changing other than Hot Shots is involved.
Any objection?
Objection.
Letter from Brooks Leahy Esquire about changes in ownership interest in Greenmount Group, Inc., the liquor shop.
The only thing they're changing, the ownership still says, the main owner still says it stays the same. New business owner, when someone's buying someone else out on the shares.
Is the
Say
license-
say that again? I'm sorry.
The main owner is still staying the same.
Is the main owner on the license?
Yes.
Okay.
There's 3 partners in the business. One partner is being bought out by a new partner.
Okay. And the new partner is not on the license?
No.
So it's just a business association restructure? Nothing to do with the license?
Nothing to do with the license.
And it doesn't have to have a hearing with new members on the LLC?
Not that I know of.
Only if the LLC was changing.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, if you read it, it's kind of confusing, but look at the numbers when it comes to the percent, what shares he owns. Because it says the new owner is going to be so-and-so. Well, no, it's not. He's not the new owner. He's part of the ownership.
Okay.
Yeah, the first time I read it, I'm like, well, they're changing new owners and not.
Okay, so the licensee is actually gaining more shares.
Yes,
Read it?
yeah.
Okay.
And one's dropping out, one's buying.
Did they provide anything other than this letter, like a resolution or anything of the LLC?
No.
No. Okay.
I mean, Joe and I talked, we believe they don't need a hearing, but we were leaving it up to you guys. I don't know what
Well, Rule 16D just states that they have to report it to us of any proposed transaction affecting the ownership interest.
Which their attorney just did.
right.
And normally, I would say, I like to see resolutions, but I know the attorney would not send this letter unless all that was in line.
As I said, I think that's right, but my next comment would be legal counsel, what the legal counsel thinks, and
Asking you what you think.
I think you can prove it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, legal counsel for the LLC has provided us the report.
Okay, any objection?
No.
Objection.
Discussion of changes to one-day liquor license application, which we discussed
copy.
before, I thought.
A copy for everybody.
There's only a couple things, and they're highlighted. Page 3,
So the highlighted is what you want to add,
yes,
change, okay.
Change to be done.
yes.
Okay,
to be added.
to be added. Okay,
There's a copy for you. Did you get it?
Is there an extra copy?
yeah.
I gave them all away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're the first one that passed.
He didn't want any.
Shame on you.
Page 3 is the first change.
So this was going to go forward with your approval January 1st, asking for the alcohol awareness training certificate.
Yeah.
And then the only other change is page 4, which is basically dealing with the same thing.
All right,
Looks good to me.
looks good to me.
Any other comments? If not,
Now, we'll probably still see old versions, because we still see old versions, but we're trying to get them all.
So this application makes clear that this applies to every licensee?
These are one-day license.
Oh, that's right, yeah, yeah, excuse me.
It's your special one-day license. We don't have contacts, so we're in the process of forming everybody. So eventually, yes, you will have these, everybody.
Yeah.
do we have a a website, I know we're on the county website, what I mean. With the newsletter advising these changes.
You mean, do we put the newsletter on the county website?
Yeah.
Not as yet. Could ask Chris if we could do that.
What I'm getting at is, I know this is a big problem because you got so many of them and so on and so forth. To make them aware ahead of time of this change, that they've got to be somebody, whoever's on that license, a licensee, has got to be TIPS or TAM certified or accredited course.
Well, I thought and I agree, I think that's a good idea, but I thought also we discussed too, the first time next year, if they don't know about it, the first license, they'll be able to obtain. The second license, they would have to have the training for this before they obtain the second license.
Well, I understand that, but there could be some last-minute name changes on stuff to avoid that.
I've talked to several of the bigger ones that get multiple licenses, and they all know about the changes going forward. Some have already got training, just like Cascade Lake knew about it, and they got in the training. It is in the process of changing.
And rather than putting the newsletter on the website, I could just have Chris add a notification maybe at the top of the liquor board page.
Yeah, something to that effect. I don't
Yeah.
necessarily mean the newsletter on there. What I'm getting at is there's some way that, hey, look, we advised you such and such that this was gonna happen according to the law,
Okay.
that they would know. For instance, when the city of Westminster gets one-day liquor license, whose name they get it in?
It has changed in the past. But they have also sent, the city of Westminster has sent 4 or 5 people through the training. But it does change because the director does not live in the state.
That's a perfect example of what I was talking about. Somebody, you know, Okay,
Okay.
any other discussion on the temporary license?
No.
One-day license, rather? Okay. The Vine on Main has joined with Patapsco Distillery Company to co-host the annual Holiday Hope event this year.
And there's a letter going around. Carroll County's Holiday Hope, has asked them to host this event down in the parking lot in front of Vine on Main and Patapsco Distillery.
So Holiday Hope is what?
It's
It's an organization?
organization run by the Carroll County Times, that supports nonprofits. And they want to expand their footprint to allow the distillery and the winery the
Distillery and the Vine.
Vine to sell alcohol outside their footprint.
And- Oh, you mean out on the parking lot?
Yes, they're using the same footprint they do when they do the First Fridays,
Yeah, right.
but the letter explains it more than that narrative I wrote.
Okay.
Now, what kind of, you kinda gotta know what the Times does, okay, and so on and so forth. What, are they having a festival or something? I didn't know they did anything like that before. They just
I don't remember
have their thermometer and change the red color.
this is the first time that alcohol's been involved in any of the events like that. I don't remember them actually having events. It's not gonna be a festival, because it's only be a small little area.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it's
They
only,
host those things on Friday evenings and so on and so forth, but what What does that have to do with what they're asking?
It's just, what they're saying is the location's gonna be the same as when they do the first Fridays. The parking lot, they're gonna be using the parking lot.
So we have granted them that parking lot up through October. After that, they have to, if they want to do anything on that parking lot, they have to come to us again. Because,
What is, here's my point, and I'm hard-headed, I guess. What's that got to do with the Holiday Hope campaign?
That's what they're doing that one-day event for the Holiday Hope campaign.
Oh, it's not the first Friday
Right, it's
event,
not first Friday,
not a
but-
It's a
holiday
one-day
hope.
event.
One-day event, Holiday Hope Festival, or
Proceeds.
campaign.
Some proceeds will go to.
Some proceeds will go to
The event-
Holiday Hope,
this event benefits 7 nonprofits.
through the Holiday Hope.
The Holiday Hope.
Right. And the reason that they're coming to us is because the license that we have given them to expand the footprint for the weekends has expired.
Correct.
We only gave it through October. Now they want to do something with the same footprint for the Holiday Hope.
The first Friday, only thing with the first Friday, it's just the same what you approved in the past.
Yeah.
You approved first Friday to do that parking lot. That's what they're saying. This has nothing to do with First Fridays, but it's going to be the same layout as the First Friday events.
Yeah, and it's a charitable fundraiser.
Yeah.
Well, I have no objection.
This is a first-time event.
Correct.
They should have been here today. But I have no objections to it. If they're gonna, sounds to me like they ain't gonna do nothing anyway. Except they wanna be able to sell alcohol for another weekend, another day, is all it amounts to.
Yeah.
I have no objection.
Okay. Last item is Catherine calls invites for the board. I don't understand the wording.
It's just the annual invite to their
Oh,
meeting, so
Yes.
all I need is RSVP from you guys.
What's,
That's something different, George.
oh,
I don't know what it is, but,
oh, it says personal.
yeah,
Oh, okay. What is the date?
December 5th. It's a Thursday.
I did the business meeting. I'll take responsibility. I don't like typing a lot, so I just,
no, that's all right. It's just,
Words. Catherine calls invite board.
we had talked about them with the seminar.
Right, yeah, and
Why I
that's-
said, I don't understand the wording. I thought maybe it
I'll
referred to
take
that.
responsibility for that.
What time?
7 to 9.
It should be an invite, but yeah.
It's on there.
Oh, there's the invite. Okay.
Hasn't made it to George yet.
Sorry.
So you guys just let me know in the week or so.
It was for each board member, so we just made it. We just put one.
Sounds bad to me, but anyway, I'll look and see. Thursday, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Joe, unless I let you know otherwise, I won't be able to make it.
Okay.
I will, make it.
I have a conflicting,
I'm coming also.
Okay.
Well, Probably my wife and I will make it. That's all right to bring my wife, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
brought
I'll
her
bring my
last
daughter, so.
time. Yeah, that's, yeah,
you brought it last time.
You and
did.
Leah.
I did, yeah. But that invitation didn't say +1.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you've been there before. I
I
mean,
know, I know, I just,
Well, since I can't
My
make
husband
it,
and I will
All right, so
attempt
she
to
can
make it. I'm
represent
having
me.
surgery that Monday, so
Okay.
I'll put it on my calendar and hope that I feel.
okay, is there any other business to take before?
not this time.
Okay, at this time, our 10:30 hearing, I assume, is here. I live old enough, maybe I'll get away with a cough. Mr. Dixon, would you please call our 10:30 case 6525, please?
All right, case 6525, a violation hearing for a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license issued to Ying Yang Lu for the use of Asian Sake Inc., trading as Asian Sake, 405 North Center Street, Suite 2, Westminster, Maryland, 21157, violation hearing, violation of state code, alcoholic beverage, 6-311B1, and Rule 12 of the Carroll County Board of License Commissioners Rules and Regulations. In the file of this matter, we have the following documents. Something over there. This is to acknowledge receipt of letter dated August 26, 2024, delivered by hand on August 27th, 2024. Delivered by hand on August 27th, 2024. There's an August 26, 2024 letter from Joe Vance to Ying Wang Lu. And then there is a Carroll County Board of License Commissioners Inspectors Report for licensee and Board of License Commissioners. And it has 2 violations. Alcoholic beverage, section 6-311B1.
Okay.
Retailer may not purchase any alcoholic beverage except from a licensed manufacturer or wholesaler, private bulk sale permit holder, or non-resident winery permit holder. And Rule 12, records.
Basically,
It should be the duty of all licensees to keep complete and accurate records of their receipts and expenditures in such form as may be prescribed by the board. There's a note from Inspector Keith Benfer. On August 23rd, 2024, I received an incident report from Agent Ted Vaughn of the Maryland Alcohol, Tobacco, Cannabis Commission. On June 14th, 2024, Agent Vaughn went to Asian Sake to complete an alcohol inspection. During the inspection, he found 2 bottles of alcohol, Grey Goose and Jack Daniels, that have not been purchased from a distributor. He then completed his inspection and wrote the incident report. There is a incident report, State of Maryland, Alcohol, Tobacco, Cannabis Commission, Field Enforcement Division. Case Agent T. Vaughn. States that on Wednesday, June 14, 2024, at 11:15 a.m., he arrived at the business Asian Sake, trading as Asian Sake, located at 405 North Center Street, Westminster, Maryland. He approached the counter and identified himself. He said he was an agent of Alcohol and Tobacco Cannabis Commission, here to conduct an alcohol inspection. He was told by Miss Liu that her father speaks no English, but he was the owner of the restaurant and she manages it. It's a 1.5-page report. There is a letter from Alcohol, Tobacco, and Cannabis Commission to the board. It's from Jessica Honeycutt, Executive Associate, and it says, the commission conducts routine compliance inspections for alcohol violations under the provisions of the Tax General article, and that the above referenced establishment, Asian Sake, has been found in violation of alcohol beverage, section 6-311B1, purchase of any alcoholic beverage except from a licensed manufacturer or wholesaler, private bulk sale permit holder, or non-resident winery permit holder. Attached to this letter is a copy of the commission's case report containing supplemental documents related to the case. There's a copy of the photograph of the two bottles on the table. I would ask that the file be entered into evidence.
We'll accept that in evidence. At this time, I would ask all those who intend to testify in the case, please stand, raise your right hand, and be sworn in by Ms. Vance.
Missing one, hold on, can we?
Do I need to wait?
He said, hold on. Oh.
Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You may be seated.
Okay.
Inspector Benfer, are you going to present this case?
Yes, I am. Inspector Keith Benford, Board of License Commissioners. To my right is Agent Ted Vaughn. He's gonna be my main witness. I'm gonna have him testify. Agent Vaughn, can you name your name and your title and where you work?
Agent Ted Vaughn, police officer with the Maryland Alcohol, Tobacco, and Cannabis Commission, located at 1215 East 4th Street, Baltimore City, Maryland.
And on Wednesday, June 14, 2024, at approximately 11:15 a.m., were you working at the time?
That's correct.
Can you tell me what happened on that day?
I proceeded to Agent Saki, located at 405 North Center Street, Westminster, Maryland, to conduct an alcohol inspection. I met with, is it Mrs. Liu? Is that how you pronounce her last name? Mrs. Liu and her father. I identified myself as an agent from the Maryland Alcohol Tobacco Commission and advised her I was here to do an alcohol inspection. I was advised by Mrs. Liu that her father owned the business but couldn't speak any English. I initiated the visual inspection of the bar area and found 1.75 container of Jack Daniels and 1.75 container of Grey Goose that appeared to be very new. I checked or conducted a inventory of the invoices that were there. I could not find an invoice for those two particular bottles. I asked Ms. Liu where did the bottles come from. Ms. Liu advised that they came from Breakthrough. I called the representative at Breakthrough and was advised that she checked the records going back to 2019. There were no purchases of 1.75 container of Jack Daniels or Grey Goose. However, there was a purchase of a 750 millimeter of Jack Daniels. Based on that information, I advised Mrs. Liu that it was a violation not keeping the invoices for the containers and that the bottles would be seized and the report would be made and forwarded to the Carroll County Liquor Board. Ms. Liu was, and her father, was cooperative throughout the investigation. That's the state's case.
Questions of?
Agent, when you did the inspection, what was the stock like that you inspected? Were there a lot of bottles, just a few bottles? What did it look like?
There were a few bottles on the shelf display case. They mostly do the food service there.
Right.
And the bottles that they had are just catering to the people who wanted drinks.
Okay. So it's not really a full-service bar, it's kind of just a smaller type of arrangement for
That is correct.
diners?
That is correct.
And, and you found two bottles that you felt were in violation, and how many did you feel, or did you find evidence that there were a number of bottles that were not in violation, that were purchased from a wholesaler, or?
Everything else was purchased from a wholesaler, other than the 2 bottles I found.
Okay, so I'm trying to get an idea of the proportion as it relates to their violations. Is it half, 1/3, 1/10?
Can you repeat that again, sir?
Yeah. So the 2 bottles, what is the portion of all the bottles sitting there are the 2 bottles? Was it 1/2 of all the bottles that you viewed, or 1/10?
1/2 of the bottles I viewed.
Okay. So approximately half of the stock that you looked at was in violation.
The 2 bottles were in violation. Everything else, they had a invoice for it.
Okay, so everything else, how many bottles constitute everything else?
You want to know how many bottles they had on the shelf?
Yeah, I want to,
Approximately 15 bottles.
okay. Who is Breakthrough?
Breakthrough is a wholesaler who distributes the Grey Goose and the Jack Daniels. That's where they purchase it from, or that's where they're supposed to purchase it from.
And so you were advised that these bottles were purchased through Breakthrough, a wholesaler, and you contacted Breakthrough,
That's correct.
spoke to a representative, and had them check their records.
That's correct.
And there was no record with Breakthrough.
For the 1.75 containers, no.
And did you then ask Ms. Liu if there could have been another wholesaler?
I did, and Mrs. Liu says she didn't remember, and when questioned her about the invoice, she says she may have thrown them away.
Yeah,
Okay,
because, sorry.
Yes. And as you, Agent, as you looked at the invoices, about how far back did they go that the licensee had available?
2019.
You stated they looked relatively new. Were they full? Were they,
Yes.
Seal broken though, obviously, but.
The Jack Daniels, I refer to the picture.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The Grey Goose was pretty much, was full, and the Jack Daniels was full.
Were there pictures in the file?
Yeah, but the file passed me.
Okay, no, I didn't know if I needed any of these pictures, that's, I'm just,
And all the other bottles that were on the shelf that were obviously used more, all those invoices, I mean, you had invoices up to
ma-
currently.
I had invoices to match what they had on the
Right.
premises.
And were most of those current or?
They were
I mean,
current.
purchased within the certain time frame.
They were current.
Okay, so, like I say, would stand to reason that that invoice should be there too, because all the current ones were there.
That's correct.
Gotcha. So when confronted with the response that Breakthrough did not have a record of their, they still insisted that they had bought it from a wholesaler, they just didn't know who. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Were there invoices from any other wholesaler besides Breakthrough?
That's correct.
Okay.
There were.
does any other distributor distribute Grey Goose and Jack Daniels for this area?
I believe RNC, I think RNC does.
I've never seen that one.
If it's
So
not
there's only
RNC.
certain, I'm sorry to interrupt you, there's only certain distributors that distribute, okay.
Yeah, this Breakthrough is the main distributor that does that. And there was another one, but I think they changed hands.
Thank you for that, thank you for
From
that
my,
information.
from my knowledge, no other distributor besides Breakthrough does the vodka and the Jack Daniels.
Gotcha.
There was one, but I can't remember who it was.
But not recent.
It's changed hands, so.
Yeah,
Yes. Are there state charges pending?
No, the charges that we have here are brought,
Just-
there's
just-
none in district court now. Just, they all came to you.
Right, okay, so I'm looking at your report, and it talks about state penalties for these charges.
That's correct. Charges could have been brought to district court.
Right.
But in a situation like this, it's more appropriate to bring it in front of you in the liquor
Okay,
board.
thank you. That's, okay.
Any other questions of this gentleman this time?
No.
If not, Inspector Benford?
Just want to, do you have color pictures in the folder?
Yes,
Okay.
colored.
I'm looking at them now for
Do
the
you
first
want
time.
more, I can bring up more copies of it to see them.
Can I just take a peek on it while he's looking at that? Thank you so much, Keith.
Or you can get here, I have color, you have black and white.
Okay. These are the picture, these are what I'm handing out.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
I do have I'm sorry, Agent, I do have another question. In the file, there is a form, and this, is, from your office. Companies that Asian Sake orders from?
That's the order sheet that I found from Mrs. Liu. That was on the, mixed in with her invoices.
Okay, so I see Breakthrough is there, and I also see Southern?
Southern.
Southern.
Southern, okay, sorry. So you put this into evidence because there is no checks for Grey Goose vodka, for instance, on this order form.
That's correct.
What time of day approximately was this? Is it on here? I don't have the file.
It was 11:15 a.m., sir.
And the licensee is Ms. Liu, you're the licensee.
No,
Well, in this file, it says,
no.
She is, her father is the licensee who could not speak English.
He's a licensee.
okay.
He's the licensee.
No, excuse me. The father's not, the brother? The brother, he's the licensee. The father owns the business, but the brother's the licensee for the
Right.
business.
Okay.
Okay.
So that, in the file, there's a photograph of a license, driver's license, for Lan Jandi Liu. Is that you?
My dad.
That's your dad. Okay, and then there's a photograph of a driver's license for Yingang Liu, and it says licensee, manager, and owner under the caption. So I guess my question is,
Mr. Liu is the owner of the business. The first picture.
yes, okay.
He's the owner of the business. Daughter and son.
Who's on the license?
On the license, it's just the son.
Okay, so the son's license, driver's license is not in this file.
You were not there.
He wasn't there.
He wasn't there.
Okay,
The daughter is my main point of contact when I speak to them. I think she lives there because she's always there.
okay, but she is not on the license.
No, she's not licensed, but she is the manager, she runs the place.
Thank you.
Is that correct, what I'm saying? Okay.
So you can't tell. Can't tell, but this one is. Sealed.
That's what I was looking at. It's not.
Other questions of,
Oh, I have no further questions of the agent.
I have no further questions.
not at this time. Inspector Benford, you want to move on?
Yes. On August 23rd, 2024, I received the incident report from Agent Ted Vaughn of the Maryland Alcohol Cabanas Commission, which stated that on June 14th, well, we just saw, Agent Vaughn went in and filed the report. I went and then on August 26th, and issued our own Carroll County version of incident report. I gave him the notice, I wrote the 2 charges, I also spoke to Ms. Liu, and I did ask her directly, did she buy from a liquor store? She said no.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was writing something. So she denied buying this from a liquor store?
Correct.
Okay. Did she tell you where she bought it?
She said she got it from the distributor, but
A distributor?
yeah, she had, and she said she was gonna check her records at home to try and find a report, and I have not,
Because,
this
One
week,
sec.
they're
Sorry.
calling you.
Okay. So far, the evidence clearly shows that no invoice was produced.
Correct. I've not seen one, and
But both inspector and agent have testified that the manager states that it was not bought from a liquor store, that it was bought from a wholesaler.
Correct.
Do you agree with that, agent? Did she tell you that it was bought from a wholesaler?
That's correct, but she couldn't produce the invoice.
Right. And that's what she told you too?
correct.
But agent, there were invoices for the other bottles.
That's correct.
And you also testified that Breakthrough is the primary distributor of those 2 alcohols in this
That's correct.
county, and Breakthrough says they did not buy them from them.
That's correct.
Did you, by any chance, agent, go to Southern and ask if they had any records?
No, I did not.
Do they sell Grey Goose and Jack Daniels?
According to the sheet that's in our file, they do.
Okay.
But you can double check that. I saw Grey Goose on the,
I don't have that.
that order.
What sheet are you referring to?
The one that, remember I asked about, well,
They,
You're talking about her
in
order
theory,
the Southern has the Grey
the order,
Goose.
can I see the file for a
Yeah,
second?
here's the one, here's that
Sure.
page, that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I'll look at it.
What
at
I'm
the
referring
same
to
time.
is the,
is that picture?
The
that was-
picture of the,
yeah, it's the,
Yep.
I asked the agent what this was, and he said it was, he found this in her invoices. This is an order form.
That's correct.
Here.
So, and on the order form, I see that they do wholesale Grey Goose vodka,
yeah,
and I'm talking about Southern. I do not see
Jack Daniels.
Jack Daniels, but then again, I don't see Jack Daniels on Breakthrough either.
This form is something the business has come up with. It's not an official form that distributor or anybody.
That's correct.
Okay.
Here's just the colors.
You just leave them here. They don't go in the file.
Yeah, they don't go in the file, they're already in there. Okay, Inspector Bradford, if you have no other questions, comments at this time,
Not at this time.
what would you two like to say?
Say-
Before, those microphones you can pull in front of you. State your full name and address for the record, please, before you speak.
In Han Liu, full name. My address is, the restaurant address, 405 North Center Street, Westminster, Maryland, 21157.
You tell us what happened.
We, the restaurant after pandemic so slow, so a lot of beer or liquor, it's just like displaced on the shelf, not many customer. So we lost a lot invoice, we don't remember anymore.
Do you understand that our rules require you to keep invoices?
Yes, yes.
Is it your testimony that these bottles that are referenced by the agent were purchased somewhere other than a liquor store?
No, it's
Okay.
only from the distributor, but we just don't know where, because we barely order anything, so, you know, when he just suddenly show up, we have no clue where is the liquid from.
Have you had a similar inspection in the past
Similar, yes.
by an agent from the Alcohol, Tobacco,
Uh-huh.
Cannabis Commission?
Mm-hmm.
And do you know when that occurred? How long ago?
Not long ago, couple months, 3 months ago, they always show up and ask for the receipt, at least once a year.
And we're talking about,
Not him, but someone else from,
before the inspection by this agent?
uh-huh,
You talking about me?
different agent. No, no, not you, but different agent, yeah.
Just a few months before Agent Vaughn showed up?
Not just him, but different agent.
I understand that, but his inspection was in May, Agent, is that right?
It was June 14th.
Okay, so on June 14th, Agent Vaughn makes an inspection. Was there an inspection by State of Maryland before Agent Vaughn showed up on June 14th?
No,
Agent Vaughn, are there other inspectors that take care of this area, or is it?
I am the only agent assigned to Carroll and Frederick County.
Thank you.
When was your last inspection?
This was the first one, June 14th. That was the first that's the first time I was there to do an alcohol inspection.
But you have no records that they've been, how long have they been in business?
How long has Agent Saki been in business?
Yes.
13 years.
And you have no record of any prior inspections?
Now, there could have been inspection. I don't know if the board realizes that the comptroller's office used to conduct alcohol inspections.
Right.
They took the alcohol and tobacco away from the controllers and made our own, the agency that I'm representing now. So that was what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
3
It
years
wasn't that
ago.
long ago, right?
So,
3 years ago, but it took a while, it took a year to get it started, even figured out.
so there could have been an agent from the controller's office that did an inspection there, but
Right.
I've been assigned for the last 3 years.
Okay.
But no records are turned over from the comptroller's office?
No. When we started a new
Started-
agency,
You started blank from day one?
that's correct.
So your appointment to this position was when the commission, when the recreational marijuana took over?
Prior to that.
Okay,
It was
prior
just
to that.
alcohol and tobacco.
Okay.
And then later, they added alcohol, tobacco, and cannabis.
So you were part of that or
Alcohol,
prior to
tobacco,
the? Okay,
that's correct.
gotcha. I thought it
And-
was when they
and-
restructured. it.
And he was prior to comptroller's office too. He worked with the comptroller's office.
Okay, so you came over from the Comptroller's office to the new commission?
Not of my own free will.
I
So
know,
was-
we've heard.
So was the comptroller's office still inspecting during the transition, or they?
No.
So for 3 years, you've been the only inspection?
That's correct.
Of
They-
this facility?
They took those duties away from the controller's
Okay.
office.
And prior to that, with the comptroller's office, very rarely did you do any alcohol. Mainly you were doing tobacco.
Yes, we were doing tobacco seizures all over the state and
gas.
out of state.
And were you doing any gas, also inspection, gas station inspections?
We would go and do tobacco inspections at the gas stations, that's correct.
right.
Well, yeah, since the new ATCC, I've been seeing a lot more of him. He's been seeing me. He's been doing a lot more inspections in the county.
Yeah.
The point we're trying to make is that this is the only inspection that's been done there approximately in the past 3 years, roughly.
By the state. I have done inspections in there.
Yeah.
Right, by the
they've
state, that's what we're
passed, correct.
determining.
But
And
how extensive is your invoice coverage?
Not, his knowledge is 100%, my knowledge is probably 50% when it comes to invoices. But I do check the invoices, I do look for new bottles, I do see what they have. Usually when I see it, it's still stacked on top of a box.
okay. They've been in business for 13 years or so?
Mhm.
And you've done numerous inspections.
Correct. And they've never had any problems. The biggest thing is when you see a new bottle, like especially a place like that doesn't pour a lot of alcohol, a lot of drinks, the bottle would be dusty, not saying dirty, but
I know.
it would show stains on it. So you know they've had that bottle there for a while. It's when you had a new bottle, so when a new bottle would show up, that's when you would look for the invoice for that new bottles. And I think that's what I think. Is that what you do? How you look?
That is correct.
I think the agent testified that they look new.
Yeah, and that's one part, as I said, my knowledge when it comes to that side is, I'm still learning. He has, how many years do you have experience?
44 years.
And I have 8 years.
Does the licensee want to,
Yes. Do we have any other questions of this young lady this time? If not, sir, would you like to say anything since you're the licensee and it's your feet on the fire?
Yes, I just want to apologize for the situation.
State your full name and address for the record, please.
Ying Chan Liu, 405 North Center Street, Westminster, Maryland, 21157.
Thank you.
So,
Are you alcohol management certified?
no,
Okay, so are you aware you have to be alcohol management certified by law?
no, I did not.
I think our inspector will probably bring up to speed
We'll
on
talk
that.
after here.
Okay.
Have you ever gone through alcohol management training?
I don't know.
Okay. How about your employees? Have they ever gone through any alcohol management training?
No, sir.
How many employees do you have?
How many employees do I have?
Yeah, at the premises that you're the licensee for?
Not many,
Not many, no.
2,
Is there anybody at all alcohol certified?
yes,
Are you?
yes, me.
Thought there was one.
Sorry, Keith?
I thought there was one, because I remember, I couldn't remember the name, but I know there was, to get the license this year, you had to have to pass someone alcohol trained to get your license. But I will speak to him about,
How much time do you spend at the establishment?
I used to spend a lot of time, but now I have some personal issues, so I haven't been there in a while.
So have you ever been involved in buying product of any kind?
No, so from time to time, they will call me and say, I'll be ordering this from this company, how much I'll be ordering, what products I'll be ordering, but that's it.
But you don't participate actually making the order yourself?
No, sir.
Questions? Comments?
No.
With that, testimony is hereby closed then. If we would like to hear any closing comments or a summary. Director Benfer?
2 points. I did talk to Ms. Liu, and I did give her an opportunity to produce an invoice. She had an opportunity a couple of days afterwards, an opportunity at this hearing. She did not produce any invoices. And even if it was Southern or Breakthrough, there's still no invoice for the purchase of the alcohol. I believe it's Breakthrough, but it could have been Southern. again, she did have opportunity, and she has not produced any invoice to contradict what we're charging.
Okay. There's also the other charge, the state charge. Do you have any comments on that?
The state charge is the main charge. My only concern with the state charge was the penalty version of it. I think it's a little excessive. If you look at page 2,
Yeah, well, the agent testified that he didn't pursue state charges, that in his discretion, he turned it over to this board for the penalty phase at least, and for this hearing. But when I say, I'm sorry, I wasn't clear. When I meant state charges, I meant that we're allowed to consider a state violation here.
correct, yes.
So that's what I'm talking about,
Yes, I mean, we do, in the past, have issued state charges too for violations.
right.
The second Rule 12 records is our local charge, to give the board more options, how they want to go forward.
Okay. Yeah, good.
Is that your summary?
Yes.
Any final questions for Inspector Benfer? Testimony and evidence is now closed, and we will deliberate as a Board of Commissioners the seriousness of the charges and come to a resolution, hopefully.
I have a legal question, Mr. Chairman, that I think we should recess for a very brief moment to get advice from counsel.
Move that we recess for legal advice. Is there a second to the motion?
Second motion?
Motion's been properly made and second that we adjourn for legal advice. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. So ordered. We're back in session.
I move that we go back into session, that we go back into the hearing.
Second.
Moved and second that we go back into regular session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. So ordered that we took a recess to obtain legal advice as to the validity of the charges for the case 6525. With that being said,
It's obvious that there's a retaining of invoice issue, so that's something that I think you should address and make sure that, like, everything you have on the shelf absolutely has an invoice on it. Mr. Liu, you are now on notice that you have to be alcohol management certified. So you can talk with Keith afterwards and do that. And I can empathize with the fact that the alcohol sales are so little a part of your business, but you still have to follow all the rules set forth for the option of having an alcohol license. That being said, I will defer to my colleague.
Thank you. And I agree with Commissioner Mulvaney that the evidence that you are in violation of Rule 12 is more than clear and convincing. It's almost uncontradicted. That's our local rule. You need to keep these invoices for the purposes of inspections. Now, we have to address also the other charge that Mr. Benfer has levied against you and Asian Sake, and that is a violation of Alcohol Beverage Article 6-311B1, which is a state law, which doesn't allow you to purchase alcohol for your establishment from any place other than a proper wholesaler, et cetera. You can't go to a liquor store and buy it. You can't bring it from home. You can't accept it as a gift, whatever. You've been charged with that. And I think that the agent had probable cause to charge you with that. You know, when the agent did the inspection, did not have the invoices, the bottles looked new to the agent, and so the agent, I think, properly charged you with that. Now, at this point, now that you've come before this board, there's a burden of proof on part of our inspector, which I guess you can call the prosecution in the case. And the burden of proof for this type of case is preponderance of the evidence. So that side of the table had to prove to us, convince to us, by a preponderance of the evidence before us today, that you did not properly buy those bottles, okay? Ms. Liu, you have testified under oath that you bought them from a wholesaler. You can't provide an invoice. And that raises that suspicion, but you have testified under oath that you did not. You've also stated to the agent, when the agent asked you where the source of the alcoholic beverages came from, you said you thought you bought it from a wholesaler. You also told Inspector Benford the same thing. So you've consistently denied violating that state law. As I said, the agent has good reason to feel you did, but we have to consider the burden of proof on that side of the table. One thing that comes to mind is that you probably don't sell a lot of alcohol beverages at your restaurant. It's kind of an amenity, I would think. And frankly, it doesn't make sense that you would incur the cost of buying those bottles at retail when you could maybe get them a little bit cheaper at wholesale, if that's in fact what you did. So we're not sure that that's what happened. So our feeling is that the evidence against you for that violation weighs just as much as the evidence that you did not violate the state law. And that's based mostly on your consistent testimony and your representations to the agent and to our inspector. Under oath, you testified you did not. So as we weigh the evidence presented against you and for you, we find it in equipoise, and that kind of tells us that the burden of proof has not been met. So based on all of that, unless there's anything anyone wants to add, I'm prepared to make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Please do.
Mr. Chairman, I move in the case of, case number 6525, a violation of the licensee violating State Code Alcoholic Beverage 6-311B1 and our local rule 12. I move that the burden of proof has not been met with regard to the violation of the Alcoholic Beverage Code. And I move that that our finding is that the burden of proof has not been met. And we find that the burden of proof has been met in violation of Rule 12. And based on that, Mr. Chairman, I would move that we simply find the licensee culpable of violating our local Rule 12 and assess a fine of $500, suspending $400 of that fine on condition that there are no further violations in a 12-month period of any kind.
Motion's been properly made. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Motion's been properly made and seconded. That under case 6525, that we find under State Code Alcoholic Beverages Code 6-311B, 1, that the burden of proof has not been properly made by the charge. However, under Carroll County Board of License Commissioners Rule 12, we find the defendant or the licensee culpable and issue a fine of $500, of which $400 will be suspended if there are no further violations in the next 12 months. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. So ordered. Mr. Liu and Mr. Liu, we have, this board finds you culpable of violation of Rule 12. Do you understand the motion?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
With that, this case is closed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You will have 30 days in which to satisfy the fine upon official receipt by mail of the action of this commission.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
With that, concludes case 55, or 6525.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have no other hearings scheduled for today, and according to the business agenda, to my knowledge, it's complete.
It is. There's something that Keith needs to speak with you about off record.
Okay, but before we go any further here, you go ahead. What?
I was just gonna say, next month we only have one case, and so, we will have leisure time to do our Christmas lunch.
Okay.
And Keith and I were talking about different places and thought O'Lorden's or Mission Barbecue or someplace else except Buffalo Wild Wings.
We're still on the record, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, we're still on the record.
She didn't mean that. She's just ribbing me because I love Buffalo Wild Wings.
Okay, with that said, we can take care of that simply later on. We mentioned the updates to the rule book, and so forth. You would like to have suggestions or comments ASAP, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Suggested language or just,
Whatever
how do you want it?
changes you feel need to be made, if you could send me the changes you want with, of course, the reference which will,
And as for the previous discussions we had with comments about LLCs and corporate signage and so on and so forth, Mr. Dixon's gonna look into that, is that the,
and it's
Thing.
actually just corporations, LLCs, that's not a requirement.
It depends how many are in the LLC, how the LLC is set up. LLC can be less than 3. But I think if the LLC has 3 governing members with, that they have to be on it, I think. I'll have to look at that again.
and to my knowledge, there's no other legislation that we have discussed.
I did spoke with Janet Coverlant. She is going to reach out to April Rose and discuss the distillery, what she talked to you about 2 months ago, about adding lunch and food for the distillery license, like Frederick County.
Right. We never gave any guidance on that, right?
No. But that's the only thing I know is possibly happening.
Right.
It's a vicious circle as far as, in my opinion, as far as liquor license go with the issuance, the intentions, the various different classes of license and so on and so forth. It's like some other licensed venues, or other state or federal programs and so on and so forth. They start out as one, and the next thing you know, they're the second step, and then the third step, and the fourth step, and it's nowheres near what was originally began. So the larger volume and the more we have, the more problems exist. Anything else to be brought before this August body today? If not, we will reconvene December 11th, 2024 at 10 a.m. in a live hearing, I assume, on these premises.